So hello guys, let's write a program to find the maximum and minimum value in an array. So let me try to explain you what is for of and for in. So after that we will see how to find out the maximum and minimum value in an array. So for let item in array. Okay, so when I use in here, you see I get all the index of the array. So total 6 elements are there. So I get the output index as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But when I do for of, I get all the elements of the array. If you see when I do for of, right, I get all the elements inside the array. So now by using for of, let's try to find out the maximum and minimum value in an array. So I will declare two variables here. If the item is less than minimum, then minimum will be assigned with the item. If item is greater than maximum, so if I print the output, you get the maximum here is 1104 and the minimum is 7, which is absolutely correct. Okay, now let's see how the logic works. So I have told when I use for of, I loop on all the elements of the array. So when I loop on all the elements of the array, the first element, that is 1104, is compared with minimum. Minimum is what? Infinity. So 1104 is less than infinity, so first value will be 1104. Then the next if condition also satisfies, because 1104 is greater than minus infinity, so even here you get 1104. Now the next element comes 62. 62 is less than 1104, so here the value will be 62. Here 62 greater than 1104 is false, so this 1104 remains as it is. Now the next element 7, the value becomes 7 here. Similarly, all the value gets compared. If you see here, maximum always retained here is 1104, and here the minimum, that value will be retained here is 7. So I think guys, the logic is clear how to find out the minimum and maximum value in an array. Now let's exactly do the similar thing using array.reduce. Array.reduce I have already covered in my last video. So let's see how we can do the similar logic. It is nothing but the same, just we need to use the accumulator and current there. So let me explain that. So array.reduce takes two parameters, that is accumulator and current. Exactly the same thing we will do here. Instead of item, it will be the current value which we are interested in. Now, if current is less than minimum, we will assign the minimum as current, and if current is greater than maximum equal to current. Okay, so guys, if I want to print this, right, the maximum value will be 410 but not 1104, and the minimum value is 7, which is absolutely correct. But why maximum value is 410 instead of 1104? So maybe you can pause the video, give it a try. Okay, let me explain why the maximum value, if you see here, is 410. Okay, minimum value is 7, which is absolutely fine. The reason being, I am not passing the initial value here. When I don't pass the initial value, as I have already told you, that the accumulator starts with 1104 and the current starts from 62. Now when the current starts from 62, right, the 62 gets compared with the rest of the values. If you see here, current is the first value is current, right, 62. 62 gets compared with infinity, then 7 gets compared. We lose the value of this 1104, right? So that is a problem here. Now if I want to resolve this, right, so I need to pass this empty array, so that the accumulator at the start becomes an empty array and the current becomes 1104. So by doing so, the current will start from 1104 till the end. So in this way you are going to compare each of the values with the minimum and maximum value, and you are going to get the correct output. So let me print this. You see here the maximum is 1104 and minimum is 7. Okay guys, so now let me show you one more variant using both accumulator and current to find out the maximum or minimum value in an array. It is not the optimized way, but I'll show you how to do that. Okay. So let max equal to array dot reduce. If you see, the output here is 1104. Okay, so how does this work? Let me show you once by printing the accumulator and the current, so that will be more clear to you. So if you see this, we are not passing any initial value, so the accumulator will start with 1104 and the current will be 62. Okay, now 1104 is greater than 62, so what we will get? We will get 1104. Okay, and the current will be next time will be 7, so that's the reason current will be 7. Okay, and this 1104, right, 1104 is accumulator, that gets written. Okay, now accumulator is compared with current, so 1104 is greater than 7, obviously it is greater than 7, so 1104 stays. Okay, now the current value will be next time will be 230. 230 will be compared, if you see here, 230 will be compared with 1104. 1104 still wins, so 1104 is the value. Similarly, 1104 is compared with 16. Now 1104 is compared with 410. So final output that you will get here when I print this, right? So the maximum value that you will get is 1104. So this is how the maximum value, I can print only the maximum value. Now how I can print the minimum value? So to print the minimum value, just I need to make changes here. Now if you see the minimum value, right, minimum value is 7. Okay, so now let's see how the minimum value is 7, how it is getting printed. If you see the logic here, again accumulator starts with 1104 and current is 62. Now accumulator is 1104 less than 62, wrong. So it means current will be 62. So 62 gets assigned to the accumulator in the next iteration, if you see here, and current value shifts to the next item, that is 7. Okay, now 62 less than 7, which is wrong again. So when it is wrong, it comes to this 60, the current value 7. So if you see the next iteration, accumulator will be 7. So 7 is less than 230, so which is correct. So 7 is assigned to the accumulator in the next iteration, so 7 is less than 16, correct. So 7 is assigned to the next accumulator, so 7 is compared with 410. So similarly we get the final output as 7 as the minimum value. If you notice here, just only one operator that is getting changed here, greater than or less than, and rest all exactly remains the same. So how I can pass something dynamically this operator, so that on the fly I can come to know whether it is a maximum or the minimum value? Only I need to write this method only once. So okay guys, so to save my time, I have already written this program. If you see on the fly, dynamically I am passing that operator. So if you notice here, I am using eval, which will dynamically evaluate that operator what I am passing, whether it is the greater than or less than. Rest all exactly remains same. Now I pass here the mean, max, and pass this operator greater than and less than. If I print this output, exactly the similar output, maximum is 1104 and minimum is 7. Now let's see if there are some other ways to do it. We will use the math.max and math.min operator to find out the maximum and minimum in an array. So math.max and math.min will take bunch of values and it will try to find out the maximum and the minimum in that values. So if I just show you how it works, math.max, let me pass some random values here. So maximum is 6676. So similarly, the math.min simple is 12. Now I cannot pass array here, okay, which is wrong, isn't it? It is not giving me the correct output. So how I can pass the values of all this array? So we will be using the spread operator. Spread operator will flatten this array. Now when I do this ARR here and even here triple dot ARR, I will get the maximum as 1104 and the minimum as 7. Very simple. So we can use this math.max and math.min and use the spread operator to flatten the array to find out the maximum and minimum value. Okay, so now let's see if we can use sorting of the array and try to find out the maximum and minimum value in an array. So arr dot sort okay, so if you notice here, the array is sorted here and maximum is nothing but the 1104 here, right, and the minimum is 7 here. Now how I can find this? Very simple. So I need to just do ARR of 0 to find out the minimum value and ARR of array dot length minus 1. So I get the minimum value, that is 7, and the maximum value is 1104. So this is one more way to find out the maximum and minimum value in an array. So thank you guys. Do like, share and subscribe.